a modest grandmother standing beside. Her 8-year-old grandson meticulously counts. She used her coins to purchase her groceries, but the cashier, growing increasingly impatient, starts to embarrass her publicly, uttering harsh words that pierce like, with every passing second, blades. Shame's heavy weight settles in her eyes as she finds it difficult to preserve her dignity for the well-being of her grandson, something that no one. What's notable is that she has someone right behind her in line. A reserved man in a black jacket is observing everything with a solemn expression, and his subsequent actions are utterly surprising. It will result in you being in. Before we proceed with the narrative, let's shed a few tears. Let us know your viewing location. If you like stories like this, be sure to subscribe on the channel at 12:30 tomorrow. This afternoon, we have another extraordinary tale. The sun was shining, awaiting your arrival. Though brightly lit, a gentle breeze mellowed. The comforting warmth accompanied Mary as she walked with Liam. Heading towards the grocery store, she wore her clothes. Were simply worn from years of wear and tear, but Liam's small space is always kept impeccably clean. His confident hand clasped hers firmly. An 8-year-old, their eyes shining with inquisitiveness. And with innocence, he looked around in amazement at the store's immense shelves overflowing with. He seldom had opportunities to acquire goods. At home, Mary carefully looked at every price tag, meticulously selecting items as if each. The decision held critical weight within the cart. Just the necessities, a bag of rice, and a carton of milk along with a loaf of bread. Fundamental necessities were things she knew she could. At the same time, Liam's attention was captured, attracted to the eye-catching designs of candy packaging. And his excitement was clear as cookies. They strolled by the cookie aisle, Mary. She hesitated, her gaze fixed on a box of chocolates, a familiar treat, cookies bearing a blue and white label. My chest constricted upon seeing the memories of Emily, her daughter, surged back. Emily consistently purchased that specific box. Emily Liam's passing occurred 2 years ago, in a sudden and unexpected car crash that resulted in the. Mary's family was stunned, reeling from the bar's closure, and she didn't have time to. She felt grief, but she had to remain strong for Liam. The vow she pledged to Emily remained, repeated in her thoughts every day, a reminder to care for Liam and bestow upon him the greatest amount of happiness possible, conceivable, even if it required sacrifice. Her own well-being. Grandma, this is. My mom used to say, "Can we get them?" Liam inquired, his eyes sparkling with. Joyful remembrance welled up within Mary, bringing a lump to her throat. A feeling arose in her throat, triggered by his look. His facial expression made all her efforts appear. It was worthwhile, but she was also mindful of her financial limitations. Was already overextended after a. For a fleeting moment, she hesitated, then placed the box carefully into the cart. Emily's voice reverberated within her thoughts, encouraging her to preserve Liam's joy, even if it required a personal sacrifice of. "Of course, sweetheart," she said, her voice filled with warmth. A smile concealed her underlying anxiety. The narrator chimed in with empathy like a silent observer. Mary possessed remarkable resilience. A woman who had lost her daughter was facing financial hardship, faced challenges, and adapted to a more modest lifestyle. However, she always shielded Liam from feeling the burden of the hardships she faced while living a simple life. Pension and facing resource constraints. A trip to the grocery store proved to be in exploring the balance between necessity and essentials versus a smaller indulgence. A flicker of happiness, yet regardless of what is said. Liam's hopeful smile held no sway. Mary meticulously counted the coins, finding it impossible to. Her purse, as they neared the. Discreetly checking out, worried they might not. Suffice asterisk. For her, there was nothing she wouldn't do to preserve Liam's smile, though she hadn't anticipated it. What will transpire subsequently? Asterisk. Mary walked up to the checkout counter, carefully attempting to stay composed. She gently set her meager belongings on. Liam, brimming with excitement, held the counter, holding a package of cookies with both hands. Were the cookies that Mom always purchased. For me, Liam said, a smile gracing his lips as he looked up. Mary Brad, the cashier, looked weary and irritated. He looked at Mary and her card, and then at his expression changed as he noticed a tiny purse of coins she retrieved from her. He released a dramatic, over-the-top sigh, making sure everyone in sight saw him. Impatience heavily influences this. It's truly not a, he said to the bank teller, crossing his arms. His voice held an irritated inflection that only served to increase Mary's discomfort, which was now clearly apparent. With a sense of unease, Mary started counting her coins. With shaking hands, Liam glanced back and forth between his grandmother and the cashier, aware of the tension but unaware of completely comprehending what was transpiring. Brad concluded his statements entirely. Unaffected by their consequences, you couldn't tally these up at home before arriving. And, lifting everyone up, he declared, shaking. He tilted his head as he looked at the expanding line of customers, friends. I'm feeling comfortable about this. It's going to take. Endless whispers started to circulate among both customers, and Mary experienced a reddening of her face. She attempted to speed up her pace, but her hands shook with even greater intensity under the. I'm sorry, she whispered, the words barely audible under the pressure. Clearly audible, she persisted in her counting. Brad exhaled a sarcastic chuckle and flung out. Another apology won't suffice, ma'am. Perhaps next time, bring a card as you usually do. A man in the queue attempted to step. In that case, it's not necessary. Let her pay for it. At her own speed, Brad replied with a cynical smile graced her lips. You're welcome to come, she said. Here, and tally up these coins yourself. In the meantime, I'll do my best to maintain the. Liam gently pulled on the moving line. Mary's sleeve betrayed her anxiety. It's all right, Grandma, don't feel sad. Mary simply nodded, responding with a soft whisper. Endeavoring to keep her cool as Mary totaled the coins that were left. She discovered she was short on coins. Purchase all the items, taking a moment to reflect deeply. She fought to keep her tears at bay, her breath catching in her throat. Gazed at Liam, who was still clutching box of cookies, spoken in a trembling voice. She stated, I believe we'll depart. Just the other things, please, Liam, not the cookies. Comprehending the unfolding events compelled a grin in an effort to brighten the. In this situation, it's all right, Grandma. I wasn't. He was really craving cookies anyway. His small voice, brimming with, said. Liam's actions shattered Mary's heart with their lack of tenderness. The words were a shield, intended to protect her. She was aware of the significant expense it represented for Brad. Seized the cookies with disdain and placed them down. Lastly, he said, pushing them aside, rolling his. Perhaps now we can complete this line. He glanced at the patrons behind Mary and responded with a sarcastic smile, expressing her gratitude. For your patience, everyone, not all, understands the art of shopping effectively. A few hushed. Laughter rang out, while others held their silence. Clearly uncomfortable, silent, and visible. Then, Brad continued, as if speaking directly to Mary, though clearly desiring everyone to. It would be significantly simpler for everyone if individuals were slightly more ready upon their arrival. Mary attempted to disregard the shopping, persisting in counting her coins. However, her hands trembled with greater intensity than before. Liam gripped her hand firmly, attempting to. Brad noticed her reaction and sought to comfort her. Couldn't help but deliver one final dig. This isn't charitable, madam. If payment is a difficulty for you, perhaps you ought to carefully consider before taking items you're unable to. At that moment, a tall man was able to. A black jacket and darkened sunglasses emerged. He carefully extracted himself from the line, one step at a time, his serious expression visible through through his sunglasses. His intense stare made his presence overwhelming. "To ignore that is sufficient," he stated, his voice deep. His calm voice reverberated throughout the store, but his firm tone hushed the entire line. All eyes turned to him, including Brad, who now appeared to understand that since the actions had been observed, it was now appropriate to intervene as Mary grappled to complete. As Brad counted her coins, he didn't hesitate. His sarcastic comments, "Perhaps it would be simpler if she returned another day when she has real money," he stated, his gaze drifting towards her. The customers behind her, anticipating. Applause erupts, as if to say, "No one here possesses it all." On that day, Mary lowered her head. Liam held onto the package tightly, despite responding. His wide eyes darted nervously, as if scrutinizing the cookies more closely. Between Brad and his grandma, the boy felt that something was amiss, but didn't. "I understand how to assist you effectively, ma'am Brad," he continued, his tone becoming even more cutting. "Do you believe you have all the time in the world here, other? If you're unable to, people are prepared to wait and pay. Perhaps you shouldn't acquire everything." The tension was so thick, it was almost palpable. Some customers audibly expressed their unease, dislike of Brad's actions. Others merely observed, feeling a sense of unease. That's when the figure known as the tall man, clad in black, appeared. A jacket and dark shades were stepped. Advancing in a line, he had been watching the scene for a while. Intense eyes were focused on Brad the moment he made another snarky remark from the man. At last spoke up, "Do you always behave this way? Do your customers prefer this? Or is this their liking today?" Simply extraordinary. On this occasion, his voice was a deep, calming presence. Brad scrutinized each word, carefully considering its weight. Taken aback by the interruption, "And who are you, her lawyer, precisely?" derided while attempting to maintain control of in the situation, the man carefully took off his sunglasses, highlighting a serious and his presence held a gaze of unwavering determination. Authoritative, yet Brad still didn't appear to. "I do not recognize him," the man replied firmly. "Simply someone who cannot abide." Disregard the whispers circulating among. Customers became more vocal, with some starting to understand who was standing before. Despite their efforts, Brad remained unaware. He rolled his eyes, attempting to dismiss it. "Look, sir, this isn't meant to be disrespectful. I'm simply aiming to accelerate the process. This woman is delaying the progress with her bag of coins. You believe respect is a choice in your job?" the man inquired, tilting his head. "She's contributing a little, just as everyone else is. Otherwise, what leads you to believe you possess the—" Brad had the right to treat her this manner. Hesitated for a second, but then swiftly asserted his defensive stance. "Sir, I'm simply put, it's unjust to the others. Everyone here is rushing around, eager customers." The man repeated himself with a subtle smile. "It's unfair to make a grandmother and her grandson feel ashamed, just. Perhaps your impatience is the reason why you need to reconsider what fairness truly means." Meant Brad was about to respond sharply. However, murmurs within the queue broke the silence. "The question is, who is Keanu Reeves waiting for?" Spoken softly but clearly enough to attract notice. Brad's eyes widened in astonishment, the expression changing from arrogance to Keanu Reeves's words came out in a stammer, laced with disbelief. Keanu moved closer, inclining his body slightly. "Okay, Brad, you're absolutely right. And now you be aware of who is requesting you to treat people with grace." Keanu turned to Marianne. Liam, his expression losing its hardness, glanced. She gazed at the cookies in Liam's grasp and said, "These cookies appear to be incredibly tasty, I believe. You should absolutely take them home with you." Today, Mary attempted to speak, however, the words. She could only nod, unable to speak. Keanu was then overcome by a surge of emotions. She glanced at Brad and inquired about canceling. "For me, this transaction needs to be completed." It took Brad a long time to decide against making a purchase. Still stammering, responded unsurely. Well, yeah, I mean, it really varies, but it could. That's a shame, Keanu remarked, taking a moment to reflect. With a serene smile, since we're going to, Brad decided to cancel the purchase immediately. He was confused because you had just paid, but you wanted to cancel. Keanu shrugged, saying, I did, but I have a superior. The idea is to make another purchase a genuine one. Mary and Liam are worthy of significantly more than. This and you, Brad, have the opportunity to use the time to take some time to consider how you interact with others. Shifting focus back to Mary and Liam, Keanu grinned warmly. Let's get another card. And take me on a real shopping spree, I want you. To select only the essentials. And Liam, feel free to choose some toys as well. Mary shook her head, her voice quivering. I can't handle this. It's overwhelming. Kino softly grasped her hand and stated, gently, you've done so much for him. It's my time to lend a hand occasionally. Offering help is the most challenging and valiente. Liam gazed up at Mary, wondering what they could do. With a beaming smile, can we, Grandma? She inhaled deeply and then nodded. My sincerest thanks from the depths of my heart. Kino seized a cart and started. Guiding them through the aisles, Mary wavered with every item, but Kino. She encouraged her to take what she needed. Don't hesitate. Don't fret about the cost. Let's focus on ensuring you and Liam are in for the long haul. Grinning wider than he had in months. Highlighted toys and treats, Keanu chuckled and remarked that if your grandmother stated, indeed, it's added to the cart, just as the cart itself. Having filled up, Keanu turned to Brad for one final time. Remember, Brad, kindness is the most important thing. The thing that genuinely transforms the world is thought. Regarding that, as you nullify it, the customers observed the transaction. The scene unfolded, with many visibly touched, and, motivated by Keanu's kindness, Mary held. Liam held Keanu's hand with a firm grip. The grocery cart, now overflowing, awaited payment. Now, Keanu stated he was assuming control at the. Take a look at this instance. He personally handled the transaction with care, guaranteeing. All went well, Keanu Reeves led Mary and Liam to the checkout stand where a cart overflowing with groceries, clothing, toys, and necessities. Liam appeared noticeably more cheerful, awaiting them. He was clutching a small toy truck, holding it tightly as if he were afraid to let go. I'm convinced it was genuinely his. Let's cover the cost. Keanu stated all this with a calm demeanor to thee. A new cashier, following Brad, was tasked with reorganizing the stock. The new cashier was visibly touched by the room. The scene swiftly concluded. Mary's eyes remained fixed on the transaction. With tears glistening, Keanu held on to arm, gazing at him, a blend of overwhelmed with gratitude and disbelief. This is simply too much to handle. I'll never be able to express my gratitude to you, Keanu. Keanu gazed at her with warmth and responded that it's not about repayment, it's concerning offering assistance when you're able. You've already done so. Now it's my time to contribute. Liam has had his share. Something in return. Shoppers who were still within the store commenced, applauding with some vocal exclamations of, this is amazing. He's so encouraging. He's more than just a movie star. He's an inspiration to many. Bravo, Keanu. An older woman came up to him. Mary, taking my hand gently, said, my dear, what a wonderful gesture. They truly deserve this. He's made it his responsibility to ensure that boy is well looked after and keep in mind that you're never alone. Mary expressed gratitude. She was still overcome with emotion as Liam gazed at her. Keanu, his eyes gleaming with admiration. Eyes, thank you, sir. You're truly genuine. Life hero, he said. Keanu knelt down to Liam. He smiled at eye level as he responded, you know, Liam believes that true heroes are those who taking care of the people they cherish just as your grandmother does for you on a daily basis. The scene played out with Brad observing from at last found the courage to approached looking visibly embarrassed, and he stammered, I'm sorry. I regret treating you in that manner. Keanu believed he had made a mistake. He looked at him for a, though it was just a moment, his eyes held no condemnation. In a calm voice, he stated that you didn't need to understand someone's narrative in order to treat them. Regarding kindness, it is a deliberate decision, Brad, and we all possess the ability to shape it. Brad aimed to make this moment better. His head visibly reacted to the response, and then returned to the stockroom, quietly vowing to change his. Mary's demeanor in the subsequent days continued to find it difficult to comprehend everything. After what had transpired, she and Liam were organizing their groceries at home when the phone rang, bringing an unanticipated call. "Hello," Mary replied, her voice a touch subdued. "Nervous. Hi, Mary. This is Keanu." Mary's voice responded, unmistakable. "Nearly. I didn't drop the phone, Keanu. I anticipate your response. I hope you're doing well." Since I was doing well, I called because of my desire to let me share something I've discussed with someone, individuals, and we've chosen to increase our efforts for. Liam, and I want to finances. With an education, he'll be able to access the highest quality. The opportunities we can offer Mary are momentarily silent, taking in what she had recently listened to. "I can't even begin to express how unbelievable this is." "You're welcome. No need to thank me." Kiana responded warmly, simply saying, "Just keep being incredible grandmother. You already are." In the meantime, the tale of Keanu and Mary had already extended herself across the. A customer on the internet had captured a recording of the instant Keanu entered the store, and the video spread rapidly online. A deluge of thousands of comments inundated social media conveying messages of hope. And this is the type of example that sparks inspiration. Keanu Reeves is a celestial being, a gift to the world. On Earth, this makes me reflect on the importance of being kinder. My everyday life includes trips to the grocery store, experienced modifications motivated by the following the story's impact. The manager declared new employee training programs concentrating on empathy and treating customers with respect. Brad emphasized. The individual at the heart of the incident offered, motivated to lead the training endeavor. In an effort to rectify his errors, he also strived. Mary is attempting to apologize once more. "Honestly, I was clueless about what you. We're going through a tough time, which isn't an excuse, but please let me know that I am working to become a." Mary, striving to be a better individual, forgave him for his apology. Impressed by his humility a few weeks. Subsequently, Mary and Liam found themselves at the park. Liam was clutching a brand new soccer ball he had selected while shopping. With joyful abandon, Mary sat on a bench, observed him with a smile of profound satisfaction, a feeling of contentment, a peace she had never experienced before. Felt a surge of fondness she hadn't experienced in years as she looked at Liam. A black car arrived. Close by, Keanu emerged dressed, effortlessly holding a little package. "Mary the first believed you and Liam would enjoy." He stated this while presenting her with the package. Within, there were framed pictures of Mary, and Liam had a smile on his face as he walked into the store that day. As a gentle reminder that compassion always triumphs, Mary embraced him, emotions engulfing, "You are not merely. You gave us hope, Keanu, transforming our lives." Keanu smiled, responding with, "You've inspired me. Just as much as I aspire to have inspired. You continue to be amazing if you liked." In this narrative, we have numerous others awaiting to be told. Feel the warmth, tap the screen too. Discover more tales of hope and compassion and toughness.